Hello everybody, this is the Doctor, and with me today is Typical Manga Fan, and in this episode of the Typical Manga Review, we will be discussing One Piece Chapter 777, or Chapter Nana Nana Nana, Zoro versus Pica. And we start out with our cover story here. It's pretty much, the Sea Kings and Watatumi are like, I guess, are they apologizing in the background there? I can't tell. Some of them look like they have their hands by their heads like, oops, sorry.
I think that's the case. I think they were saying sorry.
Yeah. And then we have the Sea Cat and the Sea Kitten reuniting right behind Jinbei. And Jinbei's just sitting there looking stoic.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, it does say right there on the title, like apologies for the chaos and reconciliations and reunions, among other things.
Yep.
Okay. And so anyway, moving along, we're seeing a little bit of flashbackery here. We're seeing King Rico learning that Scarlet has been killed by Diamante. Seeing Diamante pretty much just mock Viola for killing her. We're even seeing one of the guard captains, Tank, trying to keep Viola from doing something stupid like attack Diamante.
Yeah, like Diamante's being a total asshole. It's to the point where I'm not actually getting annoyed by him more than I did was by Doflamingo.
Yep. And then a nice little bit of full circleness coming around here. He falls and hits his head on a wooden post, which I think is actually meant to be Scarlet's grave marker.
Ha! He can go to hell.
I think that's what he did. There's a snap in there. You go to hell and you die.
Anyway, so we see Nico Robin. We see Kiros just being like, "Okay, it's done," and he looks at Nico Robin's like, "I'm in your debt, Robbie Land," and also at Rebecca, who's crying and just happy,
Yep.
Although we also see that Nico Robin's sweating, and it turns out she actually got hit quite a bit by the spikes.
She was covering Rebecca more than herself.
Yeah, so obviously I think she took some of the brunt for Rebecca too.
Yeah.
Although I'm still annoyed that she didn't get to at least have a fight of her own. Kind of annoyed. I mean, it was actually talked about. Like, yeah. I get that Rebecca's supposed to be like this, this not a fighter, and that she only had to fight because she was forced to.
She's supposed to be like the pure one there, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're trying to associate purity with female a little too much.
But at the same time, like, I kind of like the way this fight turned out. Like, Robin could have helped, but I think this was too personal a fight for her to be involved in.
I just feel bad. Maybe like I just feel that Robin could at least be used with like someone else, because she hasn't even fought. Because even before this fight, she was being constantly protected by Bartolomeo.
Right.
So it's just like, and Nami's not even in this whole arc. So it's just like, because that and it was actually in the weekly manga recap by Raul T and Right to Rule of Time. Shameless plug, for them at least.
Yeah.
They did mention that, if you think about it, there has been no female representation in this entire arc, and I understand that it's not intentional. I mean, Oda's, I don't think is that type of guy. It's just I think he's being
he kind of can be, but not to like any like really offensive extent. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like telling them to go to the kitchen. It's like I think he kind of like wants to be careful with females, but I think he should be utilizing them more.
Right.
Especially at least with Robin, because I think Robin is a very powerful character who could be of use.
He's a main character to boot on there, but there is a little bit of that with Oda, because like if you think about it, like each of the biggest arcs have had a driving female protagonist at the center of it, like Arlong Park, Alabasta, Enies Lobby.
True.
To a lesser extent here with Rebecca, not to the same extent though.
True. And of course the whole thing about the princess with the fishman.
Yeah, Shirahoshi, that's true.
Yeah, Shirahoshi, that's true. You know what? You're right. What the hell?
Anyway,
Skypiea was Skypiea was actually for with a guy. The Guy King for once.
I mostly had Conus there, but she was actually a pretty active part of that arc. Like, she wasn't like the one in distress at any serious point.
Yeah.
And Nami was pretty active in that arc too.
Yeah. Still, I wanted a little more.
Yeah.
I'm not. I guess I just feel like it could have been better. It could have been better,
Anyway, we're kind of pulling back a bit here. Viola is reporting that Diamante has been beaten, that Kiros won the fight, and Rebecca is unhurt because of Robin. So that means like one of the top executives has been taken out.
pretty much.
And it's like they're pretty much celebrating the fact that Kiros is the original undefeated hero of the Colosseum. And real quick, I have to take issue with whoever translated this chapter on Manga Stream. But among other things, there'll be other things I'll mention later. But first and foremost, it's the fact that they're spelling Don Quixote with a J.
Where is that? Where is that? Oh, oh yeah, you're right. Isn't this supposed to be an X or something like that?
At least if they're going for the reference to Don Quixote the story, yes. That's what we've always assumed and had no reason to do otherwise.
Okay.
And that's what they use in English as well. But anyway, there'll be other things I'll be mentioning later, but that's like the first one that jumped in my head there. Being a little slow, you might take over.
I always forget that Diamante is the current champion.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that.
I know. Like I said, I'd forgotten about that too until it came up with the Hero of the Colosseum last chapter.
Yeah. So it was an interesting. It's also it carries, but it doesn't matter. Like to Kiros, it doesn't matter. To Diamante, it was like, oh, I get to prove myself, you know. Yeah. But it's like, well, no. To Kiros, it's more than just the title. I mean, it's not even about the title. It's like it's personal, you know.
Yeah, like Diamante just likes having the title. Kiros just wants to take down Diamante.
Yeah.
And Viola gives us a recap, pretty much pointing out that now there are only 4 more big fighters left for Don Quixote. Among them, Don Quixote himself, Rebel, Pica, and Bellamy.
It's kind of have the count of Bellamy. Bellamy is not really an executive, though.
Well, they aren't really saying that he's an executive. It's just that he's one of their fighters right now.
No, he's upper tiers. Tiers. And I'd like to know, by the way, that Baby 5 is a female who also didn't really get to do have much of a fight.
Yeah, or at least her fight was pretty abbreviated with her and Zai. I mean, I think she was doing a few things here and there, but
yeah. I just kind of feel that the female characters have been shafted quite a bit, and I guess Sugar is not really a fighter. She's just
I mean, and Sugar was very important to the arc. Like I said, I have my own issues with that, with how she was beaten the first time, but I've gotten over that. Like the way it's developed, I like it just because the way that her and Usopp have almost like arch enemies. I think.
And don't forget about Princess Manchali too.
Yeah. Well, that one's still in progress, but yeah, she was at the actual damsel in distress this time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there should be a little more female warriors, because I feel like we've had male damsel in distress, I believe, but I just feel like a little more. Like, I think Robin could have been that person, you know.
Yeah.
But okay. But I'm obviously not intentional, but I feel like Oda kind of like this is something he should pay a little more attention to.
Yeah, and then King Rico's pretty much going down to try and help the people down in the city. Yep. They don't want to. He wants to be more useful. They don't want to rely on the world government or the Marines any more than they can help at this point.
Yeah.
So Fujitora has already been down there already, kind of working on stuff.
And his justice is basically protect the people.
Yeah, I mean that's everything else is secondary compared to that for him.
So he's basically in between Akainu and Aokiji. So he's not like as moral as Aokiji, but he's not like absolute as in
not as amoral as Akainu is.
Yeah, because I know like Akainu's absolute justice, while Aokiji's moral justice. And I forgot what he called his own justice.
Lazy ass
justice.
Anyway,
so there's an earthquake. Father, what's this earthquake? Well, didn't you hear? The Soul King's dead!
Anyway, in this case, it's actually Pica, who, despite being surrounded by stone, actually gets to do stuff. And then Robin's like, I like kind of Robin's line. Like, that's the guy Zoro sort of already taken care of. Like, what's he doing? He should be down already. Wait, but pretty much Pica's been going around scoping the situation out himself. He sees Diamante beaten, and pretty much just insults him. He actually let's see here, and he also asked Rebecca, like, and Kiros, just what King Rico is to them. And Rico's pretty much like, he views him as a father, like a stepfather. The one who stood by him ever since he was just some good-for-nothing kit brat in the streets. Pretty much his savior.
Yeah.
He's pretty much loyal to him and the entire Riku family.
Yeah, because I remember Kiros does not see himself as a good person. He just kind of like, I feel like this is the guy who saw him for more than even Kiros saw himself.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So that's pretty much his big source of loyalty right there. Like, Riku saw more in Kiros than, like you said, more than Kiros himself ever did. He just thought he was like scum.
Yeah, well, he is. It's kind of funny how they call him the hero of the Colosseum. It's interesting that they gave him that title, hero, and we take it's. I mean, heroes become a very overused term these days, but I think in the very purest sense, a hero is what I think heroes really represents in this case. Despite being a so-called scum or whatever, to at least by his own words, but so.
So Pica leaves pretty much just with that. He just ups and goes, and Zoro's getting frustrated because he's wondering if Pica even wants to try and fight him. All he's been doing is like just running off different places.
Yeah. And yeah, it's Zoro's basically constantly like running after him because I don't think. I don't think Pica actually can handle Zoro because Zoro doesn't even seem. He seems. You see sweat, but I think it's sweat from just running after him.
Yeah, I mean, Pica hasn't fought him in a straight fight any more than he can possibly help.
Which is it's kind of interesting because he's a gigantic building basically, and if he can't fight because if he can't fight 1-on-1 and he's a freaking building, doesn't that just show how strong Zoro is?
Yeah. And in the meantime, like we see Pica start going after all the fighters that have been taken out already. He's pretty much attacking the wounded, and he's also going after Baby 5 as a traitor.
Yeah.
Of course, Sai ends up protecting her in that case, like, but takes the blow instead.
You see, here's what I'm not sure. Does her loyalty to Sai now override her loyalty to the family? Because from what I can tell, her loyalty was just like whoever said "I need you," and then she just automatically switched. So I was always wondering, like, well, what would happen if they two guys need something that contradict each other? I always wonder what would happen.
I just had a thought on this. You remember how Baby 5 was first introduced?
Yeah, she had a fiance, and she tried to shoot Doflamingo.
Doflamingo kept killing her fiancés, and it occurs to me, maybe in her mind, her husband would override all else because who needs her more than a spouse? Then a husband needs a wife.
True.
So in her mind, maybe that's how it works. Like if she's married to someone, that loyalty will override everyone else, and that's why Doflamingo kept killing her fiancés.
Probably. Although at a certain point, you gotta have to ask yourself, like, why would like number 5 or 6 actually ask her hand in marriage if they knew that number 1, 2, 4 had been killed?
If they knew that in the first place,
they were in Dressrosa. They should know who the king of Dressrosa is, right?
They're in Dressrosa. They should know what the women are like in Dressrosa. They do not take rejection well.
Oh yeah,
that was like one of the things early on. Well, actually, no, wait, they're not being rejected, but never mind.
Yeah.
And it was like. And like I said, he's going after the rest of them, like Don Chinjiao, Ideo, and I'm actually surprised I'm remembering some of these names, given what I said before about Bleach introducing characters so fast, so quickly. But anyway, like...
I think it's just because we give a shit.
Yeah. Plus, these guys are a lot more distinctive, so they kind of stick out more.
Therefore, we give more of a shit.
Yeah. Anyway, Zoro pretty much just, like, insulting him, and this is kind of where my second issue with the translation of this chapter comes in, at least on Manga Street. Zoro's a little too cuss-happy.
Oh, yeah, it is. The problem is we don't... Is that actually being translated like correctly or what? Or
there's a lot of liberty there. Like my understanding is that there's not really like true cursing in the Japanese language. It's more like really rude context, like speaking like very rudely, which would be in character for Zoro.
Yeah, because calling someone a dickwad is not really that bad. I mean,
but anyway, like
and honestly, hurting the injured is kind of a really low thing to do.
It is, but as I think Pica himself explains later, it is also a good strategy.
Like, but it's just I think Zoro's honor is just doesn't like that, But you were saying?
And when it was like Pica keeps attacking him with a stone body, which Zoro keeps chopping up, which may explain why Pica's not taking him in a straight fight if he can avoid it.
Yeah.
And he pretty much taunts Zoro with the fact that on that old royal plateau, like that's pretty much where everyone is. King Riku, God Usopp, the samurai. And Zoro's like, why are you even telling me this? I mean, and he's like, Pika's like, don't they just piss you off? I mean, the king of this country is Toffee. And he just disappears.
Yeah. So yeah, this it's kind of interesting though. But yeah, you said that he's using the unconscious people as a tactic to avoid Zoro's attacks, basically.
Wasn't quite what I was going for there. I was just thinking more in terms of like he's taking out the wounded so they can't get back up and keep fighting.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, I didn't think they would get back up. I mean,
well,
the giant had his whole entire arm get destroyed.
Pika's not taking chances here.
Okay. Who knows? Princess Menchali, come and save the day. You know.
This country belongs to the Don Quixote. And then Zoro realizes that he's actually going after the king. Like that's his target this time.
Yeah.
I can't do high-pitched voice as well, I don't think, but still, as long as it's funny. Anyway.
This country belongs to Don Quixote.
And Zoro's pretty much pissed off at himself because he fell for it. Like Pica pretty much just lured him all the way out there, so he couldn't catch up in time.
Yep.
And like I said, if he gets that, I think he's getting his big stone body back up and running too, isn't it?
Yeah, I forgot. Where's his original body? Is it like inside the stone or something?
I think so. He assimilates the stone. That's his power. He merges with stone. So I think that means I think it's somewhere within the palace, like most likely within the giant body.
Because is it one of those things where you have to like hit the actual body to damage him?
Most likely, and I think that's one reason why Pica's avoiding a straight fight, because what I'm seeing here, Pica seems to be the type of person fights dirty and fights tactically and fights dirty. So why would he fight? Why would he get up in a straight fight when all he has to do is hide in the stone and not take any hits at all and can still do plenty of damage? Or why let the wounded possibly get up and keep fighting? Because these are the kind of people that would and have been doing that. But pretty much just take them out and make sure they will not get up at all.
Yep. And Zoro's basically trying to plan out what he can do, and he's like, first, I can slice him. No, I can't do that. He's too far away.
He's too far. There won't be enough power to finish him off.
All right, well, how about plan B?
Jump to where they are. No way I'll make it. Plus, if I fall, that'll be the end of me.
Plan C.
Scream out as loud as I can and warn Usopp and the others of the danger. But there's no way they'd hear me at this distance.
Plan D.
Contact them on the Den Den Musi phone snail and tell them to get the hell out of there. The problem is I don't actually have one.
Yeah. I like how they actually play on how Zoro's not actually that intelligent. Because there's these things like he should have realized kind of before he actually says out loud.
Well, at the same time, it's more like he's just thinking on the fly here. So, but like I said, he's at least realizing these flaws as he comes up with them.
And Plan E.
And again, this is kind of where I mentioned the curse happiness, but even so, it almost fits here. You can just run up and slice that guy out in half.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a while since I've seen him with this bandana on his head. So
that's right. He does put the bandana on here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It said pages are loading slow, so I'm not getting it right in front of me just
yet. I wonder when was the last time he did that? You know.
Well, Fistman Island when he beats the octopus guy.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like it's been a while.
Well, this has been his first real fight since then. Monet, I guess.
And, well, the thing is, though, he's been fighting Pica for a while. He just hasn't put it on.
Yeah.
You know?
Same thing happened with Kaku, though.
True.
He fought Kaku for a while before he put the bandana on. And leap into the sky and cut this guy in half.
It's like bonk guy.
Yeah. And then Usopp got his sugar face on.
Sugar.
And Zoro was like, Planny it is. And he goes through all of that just to go jump up and cut the guy around. Yeah. you gotta love his logic sometimes.
Yeah.
First, this is all the same man who said, it's on the right side of the map, so I'll just keep going right.
But anyway, it's kind of interesting how it's kind of interesting how yeah, he's basically I wonder if he's going to release a new technique or something, or just a really powerful strike. As I said, it's like his Bankai, but it's actually going to work.
Yeah, and he won't die after using it.
Maybe. Yeah. Scream out Getsuga Tensho. Maybe it can actually cut something in this manga. Man, we really rip Bleach, even when we don't have to.
Even when we're not even talking about Bleach.
Yeah. All right. So he's basically attacking the king because that actually makes sense.
Yeah, he's going after the most important person in the group. Like I said, he fights both dirty and tactically.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah, he recognizes who the most prominent target is and just aims right for him.
Yep. Yeah. So anything else you wanna?
I'm kind of pulling up the comment section of the manga stream chapter here right now, seeing what it says. Oh, the fan art section has a color of Corazon if you haven't already seen.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay.
Corazon.
Yeah, and Buggy too.
My favorite Korra.
He's in the Corazon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lame buns. A dime a dozen here. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, there's a few. Looking at the comments, some people are wondering like about whether Zoro had actually opened his eye at some point before, but not yet. Other than outside of a drawing error.
It's true. Does he have this like ability to like? I wonder if he has something underneath his eye. Or it's actually just cut.
Yeah, he can't open it yet. He's starting up his Renegon. He's got one of Mihawk's eyes.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Yeah. So, yeah, I wonder if that because I'm thinking like, yeah, he wouldn't he? Because I did mention this in the previous like episode where, yeah, doesn't his eye kind of actually hurt him more than it should? Like, because it would make him lose depth, right?
Well, potentially, like depth perception could be
Yeah.
an issue there. I said it doesn't seem to be bothering him so far, though. Maybe, like I said, depending on how long it's been since he got the injury in the first place, he could just be used to it.
True, but it would always help to have two eyes. Always helps. Anyway, so is that it?
Like I said, most of the comments, not a whole lot, like at least discussion word here in the comments so far. A few interesting little jokes here.
Yeah. So since Diamante's out, and this is gonna be the Pica fight. I'm gonna say that Pica's gonna end. The Pica fight might end at the next chapter or the chapter after that one. We might have it might end like the fight itself might end next chapter, but then we might have the aftermath in 2 chapters.
Kind of like we did here with Diamante, right?
Yeah, I think because the executives, and I think we're gonna go back to the Bellamy and the Doflamingo and the treble fight.
I figure we'll go to Bellamy and Luffy first. Like he'll deal with Bellamy, and then we'll probably check in with Law and Doflamingo and Treble.
Do you think
still the 3 of them together at the time right now, right?
Do you think Luffy will have anything to do with Doflamingo's defeat, or do you think it's gonna all be for just Law?
Actually, that's a good, interesting question. Like, will it? Like I said, because obviously I think that once Bellamy's out of the way, there's going to be one of them versus Treble and one of them versus Doflamingo. But assuming they don't actually do a team act, who gets who?
I feel like I want a team match. I feel like I don't think Oda's done that many of them. He tends to separate them, and I understand why.
Because like, they have to show off a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like a team match would actually do really well in this case. Yeah. I mean, because they did do that in the start of this fight. So
yeah. Plus, the whole thing is that they're an alliance.
Yeah. Well, isn't it technically ended?
Well, for one of them.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. For one of them.
Like I said, I love the scene when they first join up in Punk Hazard. Like the whole thing about like who's up, everyone's talking to Law. Like, okay, so if you think you're going to be in charge of this thing, you got another thing coming. Luffy's like, yep. Your idea of an alliance is not the same idea as his idea of an alliance. It's like being friends, right? And just so on and so on. And that whole time, Law's just looking like, what the hell did I get myself into?
I know. All right.
But yeah, I said that's let's see. At this point, it is looking. I think I think you've got the idea here about how this will work. That's pretty much how Oda usually flows around this point of chapters, like with the battle chapters.
Yeah.
And he's been keeping that pattern overall here. Like most of the chapters will end the fight, and we might get some like a page or two of aftermath, depending on just how big a deal it was. Like Diamante and Kiros got quite a bit of time because they were such a big thing.
Yep.
Yep. And then I said, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. Like if we'll check in with Luffy and Bellamy at all, but I think not though, because at this point we're focusing on the one fight at a time. I think. So we'll probably do that. We might when we get back to Luffy, we might check in with Law and Doflamingo, but pretty much focused on Luffy and Bellamy here. And I'm now kind of starting to wonder. I wonder if Mancheri is going to be showing up at the revive Luffy and or Law in their fight.
That might be the case. She might revive everyone. I feel like reviving everyone would be better.
Yeah, like maybe Tears of Happiness that everything's been finished and it just goes all over to Dressrosa.
Yeah.
That's just exactly the kind of cheesy yet awesome thing Oda could do.
Cheesy doesn't necessarily mean bad, so hey.
That's why I didn't say bad.
Yeah, there you go. That's why it's awesome.
Yeah. Like he can, like the man can make you cry over the ship. So yeah, I don't doubt his ability to pull something off if he wants to.
Yeah. Oda made us cry with the ship. What the frick?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's say I really wonder who will end up getting the voice Pica on here because like I don't think they've had that episode yet, have they? I don't.
No, it's supposed to be like the next. It's like March 1st or something.
Okay, so we're getting Pica here pretty soon then.
Oh dear. I want to hear it.
I wonder if they got his voice actor announced yet.
I think they're actually gonna play. They might make it a secret. I think people know that this is getting hyped.
I don't know. It's like,
please let it be that girl.
At the very least, like when you look it up on like the One Piece wiki, there's no voice actor listed just yet. He said, I don't know how reliable that is, but at least it's a good, a quick source as any.
Yeah. All right.
Like I said, that in that case looks like we're good for the night here. That was One Piece chapter 777, Zoro versus Pica. We'll see some more of it next chapter. Hopefully, we'll see Zoro unleash some new move to take Pica out entirely. We'll go back in the last couple fights of the arc, and then we should get our big old beach party.
Yay!
Meantime, take us away.
Bye!